Your next question comes from the line of Annabel Samimy with Stifel.
Hi, all. Thanks for taking my questions. So I had a few here. First, on the initial reception and training requirements around RHA, I did notice you started a revamped view. So can you talk a little bit about how much they need to be trained to use this new filler? And also, are you starting to incorporate some thoughts about how you're going to be training physicians around DAXI? I know it's not approved yet, but presumably some of the physicians have worked with it before. On the therapeutics front, now that plantar fasciitis is, I guess, sort of out of the picture, any further thought to starting up in migraine or any other therapeutic indication? And then finally on HintMD, I guess, can you, now that it's sort of up and running, can you see any trends, and is there anything that you can see right now that you can leverage beyond what you expected to be able to do with HintMD? Is the reception better or neutral or worse than what you would have expected? Thanks.
Thanks, Annabelle. I'll go ahead and let Dustin hit the first question, and I'll take the next two.
Yeah, thanks, Annabelle. On the RHA training requirements, right now training for RHA collection is not required, meaning it's not mandatory. However, what we've seen is the unique formulation and how this range of products was created allows for a different injection technique, a bit more superficial than what's currently available, with high safety metrics behind that. And so what we've done is we've taken a bunch of the global experts and we've kind of coalesced them under Revance U. So it allows for the U.S. physician to get tips and tricks and also just to better understand the technology from the global ambassadors that have been injecting it for years. And then we've now trained also U.S. gurus that allow us to then kind of tease out the nuances. With the formulation of the RHA, it really allows you to do things differently. And so we're encouraging training. We've seen a high level of engagement in our platform, both virtually and also on demand. So I hope that answers your question on training. And then I'll turn it over back to Mark on the DAXI training side.
Yeah, so to hit the second part of that question, I think on the DAXI side, what we've talked about in the past and still holds water today is, once we get approval for daxibotulinumtoxinA for injection, it will be the first time that we will have used it outside of clinical trials. And so therefore, we've always sort of indicated that we need to be very thoughtful and measured. And therefore, our rollout and launch strategy was going to be start with a small group of physicians to get commercial experience outside of the trials, Q1. In Q2, roll into our preview accounts, roughly 100 physicians or so that will use it then a little bit more broadly, but still in a pretty controlled way. And then use those learnings around, feedback from those physicians, messaging and everything to inform the kind of the broader scale launch in Q3, similar to what we just recently did with the RHA collection in September. So pretty similar strategy, except, an extra quarter at the beginning there to get some real world experience. Again, from talking to the physicians, they're less concerned about injecting it and watching to see duration as they are injecting it to make sure that that acute response is what they're looking for, and they can turn those around pretty quickly. So we think that, through the RHA launch, we've garnered a lot of insight into the right way to do this, and we continue to feel that that will be the right launch strategy for a neuromodulator once it gets approved. Your second question on, sort of now with the PF readout, how does that inform our therapeutic strategy going forward? We've always talked about, this is a really exciting and pivotal time for the company as we read out the cervical dystonia phase 3, the plantar fasciitis phase 2, and the upper limb spasticity phase 2. Clearly, we're disappointed that we didn't see more separation between the treatment arm and placebo, but it has helped us sort of focus our attention and efforts going forward. Clearly, in muscle movement disorders, the promise of a longer duration neuromodulator carry real value. So we're going to lean into CD. ULS fits into that same category of muscle movement disorder and is administered by neurologists. So, we have, I think, greater visibility to a strategy that's going to center around the neurologist. And, we'll want to see that phase 2 data, but that's the direction that we're going. As it relates to migraine and other, existing approved indications, I think that, we'll finalize that as we kind of get these data package out and, make our plans for 2021. But as we've always talked about migraine, it's not a if, it's a when. And so we'll be thoughtful about, kind of how we invest in the different therapeutics going forward. But we continue to like the optionality that exists as we move forward and continue to leverage this unique neuromodulator. The last one on HintMD in terms of are there any additional sort of insights or trends. I will say that in this COVID environment, the one thing that has been nice is in offices, they are going to a little bit more remote payments in contactless process payment. And so I think that the promise of the platform offering that and allowing for secure transactions to take place has been attractive. Certainly as reported out today, we do have some visibility to overall volume trends. So it does give us a way to validate what we're seeing in the market with what's happening on the payment side of it. And I'm sure as we move forward, we'll continue to uncover additional insights that we can either share with our physician partners to help them run their business in a better way, or insights that help us be a better partner on the corporate side. In terms of sort of how we're thinking about it, we're very excited. I think that we continue to have conviction that this is a really important part of our overall aesthetics franchise, and that by combining sort of really leading services around loyalty and subscriptions and other things down the road are going to be an important point of differentiation above the product side of it. So we continue to really like where we're positioned. We thought that the integration has gone very well. The teams are working collaboratively. And so we're really looking forward to continuing to drive both of those products into the marketplace.
Great. Thanks a lot.